It's day 631 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. This week's Arukh HaShulchan Yomi is sponsored for exclusive for Fuhr Shlema for Yonas and Ezra ben Chana Feigel. Fuhr Shlema Vikarov. So if you'd like to sponsor a upcoming shir or more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. We very greatly appreciate it. Today we're doing Simon Shin Samach Vav Chav Hey to Shin Samach Zayin Vav. Shin Samach Vav Chav Hey is the last sif. We should have Shin Samach Vav. Normally do the last. Don't leave the last sif out. Finish the simon, but this is a long one. Okay, Chav Hey Mitzvah Achar Every Chatzeros. It's a mitzvah to try and put up an eruv, if all possible. Baruch HaMitzvah eruv, and you make a bracha on it. I emphasize baruch when you make a bracha. B'shalosh mekabel zosam ne'achatzim, when you collect the pieces of the loaves of bread from the ne'achatzer, or b'shalosh when you bestow ownership on it in the bread to them, upon them. But in eruv, and you say with this after you make the bracha. With this eruv, yeshar one should be permitted for us lafuke la yule to take out and bring in minabatim minachatzim from the houses to the yards minachatzim batim, and from the yard to the houses mibais lebais from house to house kol batim shebachatzer, all the houses in the yard chol shabbos hashara for all the shabbos of the year. Yeshua tzelativ gam liyontiv. Those who want to add also yontiv, so be careful. Because yontiv technically only carry tzarech ochel nefesh, and unless you have an eruv, so therefore eruv is effective for yontiv. Vein minig kain, the minig is not to do that, not to say that. Mr. Pura says no, you should say it. Switch says Shabbos Yom Tov. If you go over eruv lo boy berach lo, they collect the eruv and not make a bracha, and a bracha makeves. The bracha is not necessary. Mutar is out allowed to carry. Shem bracha is not close. Bracha is not impediments. Lo damilu tavshin l'kamat siman tav chav zayin tav kuv chav zayin. That bracha makeves. I do not know that. But eruv tavshin the bracha is required. That's an ikar bracha because they're the primary component of the transaction is the bracha. Because they shiva mana yafel Shabbos to ensure that you choose a select portion for Shabbos. For those that include without the bracha, it's nothing. Bracha ikar ishtatfus hazikoi. But here the primary part of the transaction is the partnership or the bestowal of ownership. You can't ask that if so the bracha is not made immediately before the act, because it would seem that the eruv actually takes effect right before Shabbos begins. Then okay, that's not true. The well, I should say. Yeah, the Shabbos as long as before Shabbos begins, that's immediately preceding the activity. The Isha a person is not a member of the Chatzah should not make this bracha. Since he has no connection to the Seir. It's not doing anything. They should make a bracha on it. So here's an interesting trivia question: what bracha can't you be motzi somebody else? Bracha berachas erev chatzeros. V'yichal yontiv be'erev Shabbos if you're not from the Chatzah. V'yichal yontiv be'erev Shabbos. Yontiv comes erev Shabbos. Im mutar is close, but yontiv can you do a schina yontiv? He's barbasim tav kuf chav ches she'asur and shem v'ayim. It's forbidden, so you have to do it for yontiv. There's versions which it says that this eruv were meant to carry also from rooftop to rooftop. He says it's not necessary to say this. We shall see allowed to carry from roof to roof no matter what. Where the way you pass it. If somebody is the guardian of a minor who's an orphan, he can make an eruv for him. He can participate in eruv for the child. We don't say How can he do this? How can he cause a loss to child? The child can carry without an eruv. Because of ochlavenos, a child is eating treif and doing any other prohibition. Aim based in similar afrisha. Base is not commanded to separate him from this activity, from which goes silent with sim and shim mem gimel. We don't deliberately allow a child, even a child, to do something prohibited. And furthermore, also, we don't want his house to forbid the other people in the chutzner from carrying. If he has no portion in the chutzner, then his house, which is accessible has access to chutzner, would forbid them to carry. The bracket says here, I am going to Avram, Sof Sivkot Chav, Tarizah Yom Mevarach, V'achakar Yom Mezakim Ne'chutzner. Rizal would first make the bracha and then it would bestow ownership on the people in the chutzner. Magen Avram, I am Magen Avram had difficulty with this. So Arukh HaShulchan says Yishmar Dosa Cain, he did his kadesh to have bracha over Lasiyasa. So the bracha should be over Lasiyasa. I thought that's what the Arukh HaShulchan meant at the beginning of the Sif. But maybe the beginning of the Sif, the Taka meant the first, even though Dot Masha in his language, at first you bestow ownership and then make the bracha, and it's still considered over Lasiyasa anytime it's before Shabbos, because on Shabbos it takes effect. But in that case, his language at the beginning of the Sif was not clear. Because he said it must have mevarech b'shashim mekabetzo. So sounds like it makes the bracha at the time he collects them. I was that before. And not only the way he understands what he meant to say, what the Avram assumes is pshat, is that you collect the eruv first, then you make the bracha. How the bracha is after the collection. It's still Evelis Yossi because it's before Shabbos. Here he says, no, according to Rizal, you would make the bracha first, so the bracha should be Evelis Yossi of collecting the bread or bestowing ownership. Make the bracha and bestow ownership and say Badein, etc. That's because of Lashon Achar Sherei Bado Yizkeh Gam Lacherim, and language which the I guess those used by Arizal after it was Ari for himself, he would be Mazak also to others. Hachi Perusha. This is what he means. So Sa Bracha La Pas, Arei Tzuna Be'eruv. When he makes the bracha, he intends also to make an eruv that Mazak Lacherim Gankein, and he's Mazak others as well. Then Nikmar Eruv, and the eruv is complete for Duke. Okay. Shin Sam Zayin. By the way, I had before about the cotton. So he said that cotton's house shouldn't answer on everybody else. So what does cotton care? But obviously, if his house answers on everybody else, so they're not going to be particularly peaceful relationships with the cotton in the yard. Shin sometimes can a woman, the wife of give a portion for the eruv without her husband's consent, or any other member of the household. Aleph, Esau somebody who lives in the street who normally does participate in the street, for learning shtatev and he didn't join. He doesn't want to join for some reason, change his mind. So people of the house of the street go into his house, and they take his sheet for him, against his will. So let's say we should be a member of the chotzer who doesn't want to make Erev chotzer. The people of the chotzer come and take his erev. We go compelled to give the erev. Chotzer says the rush. You don't, even if you don't have his das, at least you need the das of his wife. Like they said that a wife can make a participant without her husband's consent. And without his consent means even he protested against her, said don't do it. But it's not with the consent of his wife, then it's not in the absence of his consent, it's not effective. The time of the reason is how can a person work against his will? It's the main point of Erev is that everybody's living together in harmony in this yard. The he doesn't live in this yard with everybody else. But remember, his wife is positive about this. Which is for another member of the household, as we shall see. Says so. At least one person's house. Shadar Sham was considered to live in the chutzner. They were not concerned. The husband doesn't want. I came with the Kopani. My body says that Kula Be'er was his house, and any ben is Kula Be'er. Got in Ben Adam Misham with at least one person who lives there. Pays Avari for Rambam and for Shemkin. That's not the Pshal. They don't know that was the way. But Zelashon and Rambam, Reish Perik Hey Mehervin. Echem Ney Mavi Shrugel Shatei B'Nei Mavi L'Shtartev. Remember the Mavi who normally participates in the inhabitants in the Mavi and did not. B'Nei Mavi Boyan L'Tok Beis. So the people in the Mavi come into his house. Really, men who sheet and they take the sheet for him against as well. And remember the Mavi does not want to join at all with the members of the Mavi, other members of the Mavi. They compel him to participate. What does it mean to say? If he's accustomed to being part of the Eruv, you can to take on their own initiative something from his portion, whatever his portion is. But when he's not normally participating in the Eruv, you cannot do it on. People can't do vigilante Eruv. Also, IOP based in. They have to bring in a based in. And compel him to give a portion. Dinner Sheni Mushami, and that's how Mushami can say Magi Mishnah. Rabbeinu Beisesh Shona Sof Sif Yud Aleph. Kimmel to behind him standard to be Ushami before Shlefech. Ushami is the opposite. Zel Shon Ushami is what Ushami says. Ma'arvin learned about Karcho. You can take an effort for a person against his will. Baba Basel Oshon Baba Basel language of Ushami is Mishaino wrote to Arev. Somebody doesn't want to make the Arev. They also say basically you go to his house and Ma'arvin about Karcho. And you make an error for him by Korcho. Apparently, Brisa and ask for Brisa Dafka She'enom in mind. It's only if he doesn't refuse explicitly. Avol mine if they propose explicitly. Ain't only about Korcho. He can't take against his will. But it's an answer to Hacham in mind. Hakaman shoots Stoki. That which is says that he refuses to participate. That means he's at Stoki, Sadducee, who doesn't believe in Torah Pev. Ain't mode of Erev doesn't hold the concept of Erev altogether. But if he refuses to do so because he's stingy, only about Korach, we can take the bread for him against his will. I ain't Sham. Shagisa Babasim Yusheres. Because Babasa is clearly correct in the Erev and Yeshtos. It's what's there, there's a typo. The Yushami is the right, but she doesn't Rambam. They ain't served Das Ishto. So the Yushami doesn't say anything about a wife. So he don't need his wife's consent. Shari Yushami doesn't mention at all. Based in Notlin. But in any event, it seems clear from the Yushalmis that the basin is not involved in it. Only about Korcho means the vigilantes. Brackets of name Moshe Shem Mara Ponim Matzum Farish Kavan Azuba Ramam Sov the Besod Vorv Hamutorim. Ram seems to have excess verbiage here, and the Mara Ponim let's say the Pshat the Ramam. The following the Kamanos of Dafko Shein wrote Seminay Shutzar Ayin. It's only if he doesn't want to give because he's stingy. I mean, it's Stoky, but if he's a Sadducee, ain't no Erev, then since he's doesn't concede the entire concept of Erev, the Erev is not, can't make an Erev there. I ain't shunned. Behind it, Ikar Chasser, my Kamashlan. So Arukh HaShulchan doesn't like the Pshat of the Rambam because Rambam doesn't mention it's Stoky, and anyway, what's he telling us here? Da, v'chein really the Kamas Rambam Kenu. So it seems to me this is the Pshat of the Rambam. Fish Loshel Shas Mashma the Dafka Ksha Rogil Shtatev. Only about Korach, it sounds like only when in the past he normally participated, you take against his will. If he wasn't accustomed to participate in the past, some people have an explicit version of the Gemara that it says in Rogil in Rogil lo. There's a custom, yes and not. Abraham doesn't have this gear size. says because the Mishnah here also didn't have the Girsa. Chemuch or says that's the Pshat of the Rambam. Chemuch remind him say let me Brisa the Kohen also lechi Yukol Mavli. This is clear from that. The Brisa says that we compel him to make a post or beam for a Mavli. And there, even though he's not obviously wasn't habituated till now, there's putting a fresh a lechi Yukol to participate. Most Yerushalmi says without any stipulation. My million about Korah make it for a person against his will. Veino Omer Ragel Dafka doesn't say specifically he was a bit accustomed to pass to participate. But as far as Nami Kenu, this also makes sense. The came though, so Aleim, since he's causing them problems, Mali Ragel Malena Ragel. What difference does it make him pass he did or pass he didn't do it? There's the Shas Asiud Lechi B'Korah Havi Rak Dichli B'Alma Derech HaShas. And whenever the Gemara answers about Lechi and Korah, that's different. It's just pushing off the question. Really, the question was a valid question, authentic proof. The Raya, the guy Yerushalmi, maybe Raya me Brisa Lechi B'Korah V'Lo Dakla. It's clear from the Yerushalmi, although it's not necessarily clear. Yerushalmi brings the question from Lechi and Korah and does not reject it. It's not an attempt to resolve it. L'chein be'emes pasuk Rambam de'in chiluk ben ragil le'in ragil. So Rambam pasuk is no difference between when they were custom or not accustomed. Zeh shomer ragil lav dafka. The Rambam says ragil doesn't mean it specifically. The oracle of the also come out just saying that's normal state of affairs. Zel k'mashal Rambam achashi t'dina gemara beragil. And so Rambam goes back after he copied the din of the Gemara, which mentions the word ragil. He says the gamkin echam ibnei movi shin rotzi shtartiv klal av shaloya ragil. He says even a person in movi they want to join it all together, even if he was not ragil. Gamkin kom also bnei movi. Also, people in movi compel him. Zelo shaykh lamashin nichnasim beisam enotim. Now this he says it's not relevant to say that they go into his house and take it. Why not? That works for one time. He was stubborn. Not forever. So he compelled him in all sorts of compelling compilations, coercions. He always gives a portion in the sheet of Mimos. I guess he says it's not that they can't not go in every time, it's just not practical. Change the locks. So therefore he says, but if you can't get in, go ahead. Nobody can protest against him. Because them Mavi shows Salem is a Mavi where he forbids them carrying. He doesn't have nobody to another Mavi. But Adina Zeb Bear Ram will come on. Then Allah Ram explains later on. If there's a way in which he has relevance to another movie, not to this movie, well, of course you don't compel him to participate. I feel berogel, even if he was used to participate in the past, could come forward before Ayin Sham. As will be explained there. Hey, v'nimtzo the shita as a river Rama mafuch l'gam shita sotais rosh. Everyone, amen. Being a river Rama is the antithesis of the Tais Rosh. The Tais Rosh hematzon yichon lito. They themselves can't take the eruv. I feel berogel, even if he was accustomed to make a eruv with them. But also, if it's upon them, unless they have the consent of his wife, or one member of his household, in their bias. Even if he's not accustomed to making an eruv. If he's causing them trouble, preventing them to carry, they could take it on initiative. Or that's the Mag Mishnah they based it. We're going to the Mag Mishnah and the Beis Yosef, who say it's Kaifin, say they based it, so it's through based it. They know Salem, but if he doesn't forbid upon them to carry, because he has nobody to another movie, I will have it's the opposite. I would say Rosh Lakula. That's Rosh Lini. The Taitim Ragil, Gam She'eno Oser, when he's accustomed to they can compel to participate. Okay, in other words, he's not answering. He's going to do another movie. But the Bnei Mavi wanted to participate in their eruv. So according to the test in the Rush, they can get him to participate through his wife. According to Rifa Ramam, if he doesn't answer in this movie, they can't compel him to give, not even through his wife. That feel even if it was a custom to pass to give to the Seder. The Ibrahim ain't Mila Baragil Cloud, because according to them, previous Megillah is not relevant. Come forward me Rambam and Yerushalmi Shabbeinu. This comes clear from the Rambam and Yerushalmi. Also with his wife, the opposite, the opposite polar distinctions here. The Ibrahim, according to the Rosh, Hadin King, this is how you should show them my Rebbe's Shlomidaito. Wife, a person can make an heir for him against without his consent. If you can protest, don't participate. And even he's not accustomed to making an heir with them. But that's only if he houses on them. It's only if that house is open, that chotzer. Avo im hu posul shlechet we open the two chatzeres. Achas rogel says lavot tamid shosel lehem. One he does usually goes, so he answers on them. Achas ein rogel says over the other way doesn't normally come and go. Lachay ba rogel mesh oser in the bambovi which he normally goes through and answers. My Rebbe Shlomi Das, his wife can make an heir even without his consent. I feel ein rogel maybe he doesn't normally take it ever them. Lushen Rogel, let's say, Nami. The other one where he can't come and go, he doesn't normally go and come and go. Abi Shen also he doesn't answer in the one where he doesn't normally come and go. In Rogel if he passes the custom make an heir with them, then my Arba Shaloi died to his wife can make an heir even without his consent. I mean, ain't no oser, but he doesn't forbid carrying this mulberry. The guy made a regular rave imaim, and he also wasn't accustomed to making an heir with them. Ain't a Marev Shlomidaito, she can't make an heir without his consent. Like Shemoicha Baba, that's only if she protests against her. Because when Shlomicha Baba, as long as he doesn't protest against her, but favor, she explicitly, I feel, ain't a regular rave imaim, even doesn't only make an heir with them. Ain't no oser, and he also doesn't ask her. Marev Shlomidaito, she can make an heir without his knowledge. We assume it's okay with him. Okay, what the Rambam says, we'll have to see tomorrow.